In this video, we talk about the digestive system. The digestive system is required in order to digest or break down food. The word digest means to break. But it's more than just breaking, it's more than a hammer that breaks. Okay? Digestive system does a lot more than just breaking food. Now the need for digestion, for the digestive system. Why do we need a digestive system? Because the food that we eat is a complex food. So when we eat the food, the body will not be able to use it for its different purposes. So it has to be broken down into simple structures, simple manner. Okay, the digestive system comprises of just two things: alimentary canal and digestive glands. So alimentary canal is just a long pipe that begins from the mouth and ends in the anus. Okay? And then digestive enzymes, digestive glands are present in different locations. So these pink ones are the digestive glands. Here, in the mouth itself, there's one digestive gland. Okay, so I said that we'll move on to the different parts of the digestive system. First of all, we start with the mouth. The process of digestion begins from the mouth itself, where it has two structures which help in this breakdown. First of all, it's the teeth. Teeth grinds the food into a paste. Okay? Where you have the tongue. The tongue also has a role to play. It places the food just between the teeth so that it can grind it into a paste. Okay? Then you have saliva. Saliva contains amylase, which is also known as thiamine. Amylase is an enzyme which converts starch into maltose, not form of sugar. Starch cannot be used by the body because it's a complex structure. It is it's a form of sugar which can be stored, and it's stored in plants, not the animals. So starch needs to be broken down. So it's broken down into maltose by amylase. But the saliva has a lot of work to play. It not only does help in breaking the food, it also lubricates the mouth. Saliva lubricates the mouth, and it helps you in speaking. When the production of saliva is blocked or hampered, you find difficulty in speaking. So that happens if you face a big audience, and then suddenly your mouth runs dry, and you will not even be able to produce a word. So the production of saliva, on the contrary, is enhanced when you relax. That's the reason why you find, in certain classes, people are dozing, and then they drool. They liberate this excess amount of saliva. So relaxation actually helps the production of saliva. So that's another work of saliva, is to lubricate the bolus. The food that you chew and turn into a paste mixed with saliva is no longer called food. It's now called bolus. This bolus is lubricated by saliva, and it moves smoothly through this alimentary canal. Saliva also dissolves the food and takes it into the cup-like taste buds. Saliva dissolves food and drops into these cup-like structures in order to tell you the taste of food. So you can say saliva helps us taste food, and it also converts starch into maltose, as we said earlier. After the production of bolus, after food is broken down into bolus, it is normally swallowed. So till the swallowing part, it is voluntary. It is controlled by your will. You can swallow. When you swallow, the epiglottis, there's a small, this is your windpipe, the trachea. It has a small lid. When you swallow food, this covers the food pipe, and then the food goes over the windpipe into the esophagus or the food pipe. So that's swallowing, a voluntary action. Esophagus is the food pipe which carries food down into the stomach. Now, as the food enters esophagus, it's now involuntary. Involuntary. It is not controlled by your will. So it moves on its own accord. Of course, it is controlled by parts of the brain. Peristalsis is a wave-like movement, wave-like action of, let's say this is the food pipe, and here is a lump of food going through this canal. And because of the wave-like action, this part presses it and the food moves forward. Now, instead of being here, it moves here. And this part begins to swell up. So this wave-like action travels downwards, pushing the food forward. So that is called peristalsis. What's peristalsis? It is the wave-like movement of food, or bolus down the alimentary canal. Then we move on to the next part of the alimentary canal, and that's stomach. Stomach is a muscular bag where that bolus is further mixed with all these different secretions secreted by the stomach. Gastric juices and enzymes. Pepsin is one enzyme which works on protein, or which breaks protein. Gastric juice, it contains digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid. They split proteins. Protein is a very complex structure, organic structure. So that complex matter is broken down into simpler structures. So that is done in the stomach. Okay? And the bolus mixed with all these secretions in the stomach is now called chyme instead of bolus. And then it moves into the small intestine. The small intestine comprises of three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. In the duodenum, we find bile and pancreatic juice. Bile comes from gallbladder. This is the liver and the small part, green bluish kind of structure, which actually produces bile. And this bile is secreted in the duodenum. It helps what we call break down fats, etc. And it's alkaline in nature. We talk about hydrochloric acid. This chyme that moves out of the stomach is acidic in nature. And this food can actually destroy the the inner linings of the small intestine. So acids are actually neutralized by this alkaline bile that is secreted from the gallbladder. And pancreatic juice is secreted by the pancreas, which also digests or breaks down fats. Jejunum is the part which comes after duodenum, and this is the part where sugars and amino acids are absorbed. And then the third part, which is the longest, is ileum, and it absorbs all the nutrients. And in order to absorb the nutrients, if this is the pipe, if this is the ileum, the small intestine, the inner membrane is folded like that. So one of these folds I've got here. Each of these folds are called villi. Okay? It comprises of this cell, epithelial cells. These are the veins and These are your veins and capillaries. So they are the ones that actually absorb all the nutrients into the blood. And the blood then goes to the liver, where it is filtered. Now, liver is a very, very important organ. It does a large amount, it has a wide range of functions. One is to filter, one is to store glucose, and so it also stores different what we call vitamins, minerals. Okay, so those are just some of the work of liver. Then we talk about villi, which is found in the ileum, helps in the absorption of nutrients. And then then moves into the large intestine, where most of the water is absorbed. And then this water is sent to the kidney. It's sent to the kidneys, where further filtration occurs and water is eliminated out of the body in the form of urine. Okay? And the rest of the undigested waste is then removed in the form of feces or fecal matter. Feces or fecal matter. Defecation is the process of removal of undigested waste. Okay? It is not excretion. Excretion is the elimination of the removal of metabolic wastes. Okay? That's something else. So, defecation is the removal of undigested waste in the form of feces. Then we move on to dentition. We talked about how the mouth has teeth, which helps turn the food into a paste. So we come and just discuss a little bit about the teeth. Dentition is the arrangement of teeth in the mouth. Okay? In different animals, different kind of arrangement is there because they have different types of food that they depend on or they eat. But in humans, this is the kind of arrangement. We have incisors in the front. Okay, we have 4 incisors on the lower jaw and 4 on the upper. We'll discuss that later when we talk about the human dental formula. But let's just discuss the types of teeth that are found. Incisors are meant for biting. So whenever you want to bite a fruit, an apple, you'll always take it to the front. You will not take it to the side. Okay? You find canine at the side, and they are meant for tearing flesh. When meat eaters, when you have a big chunk of meat and you want to tear that flesh, you will take it to the side. Okay? That's done by canine. And the premolars, we have 2 premolars on one side and 3 molars on the same side. So there are actually 5 of these on one side of one jaw. Okay? And the work of the molars is to grind food. So biting, tearing, and grinding. And then we have the human dental formula, which is 2123 by 2123. Let me explain this. Here is the 2 jaws. This is the upper jaw. This is the lower one. Okay. So we have teeth here. When we are talking about this number 2123, we're actually only talking about one side of one of the jaw. Okay, so this is the front side, this is the part where it has this joint and allows the lower jaw to move. This too is 2 incisors, one canine, two what we call premolars and 3 molars. we have the same amount of teeth on the other side. 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 molars. Same thing on the bottom. This formula says it has the same thing, or same kind of arrangement at the bottom. So 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 molars. Again, on the other side, 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 molars. Altogether, we have 32. We're supposed to have 32 teeth. The structure of the tooth. I've done a basic structure of a tooth. This is, it looks more like a canine. It has a single root, as against the molars and the premolars. Molars and premolars can have 2 or 3 roots. So we'll just stick to one root, a single root. And this could be an incisor or a canine. As you can see, the outermost layer, the white one that I've drawn, it's called the enamel. It is the hardest part, hardest substance in the body, much harder than the bone. Okay, so it covers the teeth. It covers the tooth. Just inside it is the dentine, which is again harder than the bones, but it is a little softer than enamel. It also provides this support and that strength required for really grinding and breaking up substances inside the mouth. And inside the dentine, there's this soft part known as the pulp, which contains a massive amount of tissues along with blood vessels. Could be your veins and capillaries and arteries, and also contains neurons or nerve endings. So this is the part that causes pain. These two, enamel and dentine, has nothing to do with any pain at all because it does not have any nerve endings. But once when tooth decay occurs, once it reaches the pulp, then you begin to sense that pain or toothache, etc. Now the teeth is embedded in the gum, this pink portion, with the help of a substance known as cement, which is this green thing that I've drawn. Okay, and this part which is inside the gum is called the root, and the part which you can see that sticks out of the gums is called the crown. So a tooth contains a crown and a root. Root you cannot see, but the crown is more like the shoot system of a plant. So this is basically what dentition in humans is